Hi everyone, happy Monday. So, doing another demo video today. This one's going to be a little different than my previous color pencil demos. So, Tammy Colors 2 and I are kind of collabing on reviewing our colored pencils, and we're doing them in alphabetical order. We have a lot of sets that are the same, and so thought it would be interesting to get two different people's perspectives on the same pencil set. Each time I am a little behind on my Arteza one, which I will have Tammy's in the description here, where she did her full review of the Arteza pencils, and I'm trying a different approach from her just to get, different perspectives in that most of mine are going to be pencils over a base color of marker, watercolor, what have you, just due to hand and wrist pain issues and just some of the issues that you'll see in this video that crop up with colored pencils. They tend to not be my favorite thing to color with, and I usually just use them for shading and accents. So most of my review will be purely from that perspective. If you want the full in-depth look at colored pencils, just using them on their own or with other things, definitely check out Tammy's videos because they're going to be way more in-depth. But with each pencil set, I am doing a demo of the pencil set, followed up by a video where I do my review of the pencils. So we'll do this demo today. My plan is hopefully Wednesday will be my Arteza pencil review, and then we'll be back to my coloring book collection on Friday. If I sound out of breath, it's just like it's been a long day. And it's Sunday, and I'm trying to get this done now, because if I don't do this now and I try and fit this in tomorrow, it's going to be difficult. So generally when I do a demo, I'll show you guys basing the picture. I usually speed it up, and then I show in some slow-mo and then sped up the colored pencils over the base color. This time I'm doing it different. I'm not showing you just one page, I'm showing you two. I'm showing you a smooth paper, this one being the ColorIt paper, and then I'm showing you a grainier, more textured type of paper with more tooth. In this case will be the Amazon paper. And you're only going to get part of the image, part of the completed picture, because I just didn't have time to finish either one today, and I knew it was going to take a while. I wanted to show them on two different types of paper, and for the finished pictures, I'll let you know via the community page, or if I don't get them done before the end of the month, you'll of course hopefully see them in my finished pages at the end of the month. So like I said, a little bit different with the demo this time. If you've seen my other demos, let me know in the comments which you kind of prefer. I just thought this would give you a longer look at smooth versus textured paper. And then, of course, in my reviews, I do like little mini sections of pictures and stuff, but this is a more like whole page look at something. So, Arteza colored pencils. They have different size sets. I think there's a 48, there's a 72, and there's a 120. Now, one of the things I kind of realized when I was doing these is, okay, sorry, restarting that. One of the things I realized in doing these pencil demos is that some of the sets I've had a really long time. I've been coloring for almost 6 years, and the sets that I'm reviewing may not be the same that the sets that are out there today, because to me it seems like everything being produced now is of lower quality than it was even pre-pandemic, but that is an argument for maybe later in the video or another day. However, in this case, one of the things I realized when I pulled this swatch chart that you see here, because I wanted to re-swatch them using either a color family chart or my coloring corner, I believe it's with Renee, use one of her charts, is that the colors have changed slightly in the newest sets. So my set is 2019, I think 2018, somewhere along that range. I started buying these types of pencils in 2018, so all my sets are still from then. And so I have three colors, as you can see here, that are swatched separately. It's a salmon pink, a coral, I forgot to write these down, and a forest green. So what I'm missing is what's in the blank boxes, which, so it looks like it took away those three colors for more grays. And I had heard people compare this to the Artisto set, and is it Artisto? Artizo? Artisto? I don't know. Either way, and I was like, but I don't remember Arteza having that many grays, and this is what they mean. So they must have replaced three of their colors with grays. Now, the forest green, that's fine. Basil green and emerald green and forest green are really close in shades, so I don't miss that. The salmon pink and the coral, I'm a little surprised at. So I don't have the newest set, but I wanted to note that here, the nuance. I also wanted to note that I also realized that my experience with these pencils may be very different from a new 120 set that is produced today. Like the quality over, what, 4 or 5 years has probably went down. Let's just be real. I don't think I've seen a single instance where I've had a product over the past 6 years where the qualities went up. And I'm sure there are dozens of examples, but I can't think of one right now. Anyway, the Arteza pencils being put out now may differ greatly. So with all my pencil reviews, I'm going to start making sure I let y'all know when I purchased this set. And also, in any case, things can change in 6 months. They could change in 5 years. I always say, definitely make sure to research return policies when you're buying new pencil sets. That way, if you're not happy with it or you have a different experience with it, your results may vary based on production changes. The type of pencil it is now may have a different formula than it had 5 years ago. So I can't speak to this is the way they will be forever and always. I may get a new set of Artezas one day and hate them. And I think that's actually, I didn't even like the Amazon Basics, and I've had those 4 or 5 years. Those were pre-pandemic purchases, but apparently the Amazon Basics now are even worse. So again, just something to keep in mind when looking at reviews is when did people purchase their sets, I believe is a pretty important point to keep in mind. But like I said, with any case, production in pencils could change at any time. Suppliers could make changes, just 3 months from now or whatever. So, but it's pretty telling that in 5 years or so, the colors really haven't changed that much other than the grays. I don't think having the 2 pinks go away was necessarily a smart thing, but I don't know. I'm not huge on using a lot of grays, so I don't really like this change, but a lot of people that use grays, a lot of people use a lot of grays, and so those might have been necessary. I'll have more thoughts on this overall palette in my review on Wednesday, hopefully, fingers crossed. But this is what we're working with, and this is what you're going to see me color with. So I guess let's get started. So first up is ColorIt Eerie Enchanted. If you watched my coloring book collection on Saturday, this may look a little familiar to you. And it was because I have a long-standing whip in here that I decided, hey, let's include this in the demo. Now you see me sitting here getting my coloring glove on and a brush. You'll see in a minute. So I have this long-standing whip here of Puss in Boots, setting up a trap for the bunnies. And I had done a demo. I'm going to put it in the top right. If you want to see the watercolor portion of this from months ago, I will post it here at the top right. So feel free to go back and look if you'd like. This is going to be a little weirdly chopped up, but and you'll see why I say that in a minute. But I wanted to do this piece in real time once we get past this initial part. Lost my train of thought. Anyway, here are the Artezas. These are the expert colored pencils. I don't know if they still have them separate by like expert and professional or what have you, but the expert are the higher level, higher price point set of pencils if they still have those. Man, I didn't realize it'd been that long since I bought this set. But as you can see, the swatch cut off a little bit. There are some metallics there at the end, and I'm going to use a few of them. But I'm also using this. This is from Color with Claire, and just for a little bit of fun and just for something different on this page, I wanted to see if I could use some of these color pencil combinations. And I did actually use a number of these, and so they're really handy. I will put a link to these as well as the swatch in the description so you can go check those out too. I think they are Ko-fi, so you can give like $1 or whatever you want as kind of a tip to be able to download them. But the background here was colored with the Artwell watercolors. And then I think it was the Calero pearlescent colors. Maybe. I can't quite remember on the rabbits. But yes, I have my coloring glove and I have my makeup brush, because one big thing about these pencils is that they are soft. In the years I've been coloring, makes it sound like I actually know what I'm doing. In my experience over the years, I find that these pencils still to me are close to as soft as Prismacolors as pretty much anything else I use. And I know that's a very controversial take, and a lot of people, don't fight me over it or don't call the police on me. That's just my opinion. And again, the formula in these pencils may have changed. The original pencil set might have been softer way back when. So I wanted to show in real time coloring his feathers, because I really loved the idea that I decided to do these in rainbow, and there is going to be some shaking of the camera. It was a very windy day outside, but it was nice and warm. It's my last day off this weekend. By goodness, I was going to color. So outside, even though the wind's constantly blowing stuff around and I was like deeply frustrated at the end of it all, I was still going to color outside. So I do apologize for the shakiness. This was not at my normal desk. So, but I think these are as close to soft, like Prismacolor soft, as any other pencil that I own. And at least the ones that I have thoroughly used. And I love my Artezas. Again, probably a really controversial take. I know that Arteza's products overall can be there are a lot of their products that I used to love that I don't love as much anymore. But the one thing that I still hold true to is this particular pencil set. And I like their watercolors too, though their watercolor pencils are a little bit diluted, as are more inexpensive watercolor pencils anyway, so they're not any different from other pencils in their budget range when you catch them on sale. The colored pencils, though, that I think they are some of the most vibrant pencils I have, and some of the softest, and they really do mush together and blend together really well, as you'll see. And I feel like the color changes in this feather really showcase that. But because they're so soft, they tend to smudge more. And so I have my little art glove on, I have my brush, and I will be using the brush a lot because these do produce a lot of crumbs because of their softness. Again, I don't think it's any, and here you notice I sharpened that pencil. Actually had, must have been a break in that pencil. I had to resharpen it. I don't know if I show that. I thought at one point I showed the pencil sharpener. I mostly use a rechargeable electric sharpener. It's a jar link, and that thing has happily ground up any pencil that I've thrown at it and given me a good sharp solid point. I don't have a lot of issues with breakage unless it's my own heavy pressure problems. And I love that pencil sharpener. So these are no different. Again, I think they seem to feel like a heftier pencil, like a thicker, heftier pencil, and they sharpen just fine to a sharp point. They will pop on me if I press too hard, which if you've watched me use pencils at all, know that I do very often. But today I was feeling a little less stressed, I guess. I wasn't putting as much pressure on these pencils as I usually put on pencils, so I didn't have as much problem. Though you do see a bit more of the graininess. Normally I'm like really trying to go over them and burnish them out to create like a really smooth finish. And I didn't do that with these pencils today. And you'll really see that in the Amazon paper. Now the ColorIt paper is very smooth. It is a marker. It's supposed to be like a marker friendly cardstocky type paper where you can do a lot of marker blending. And so thus it's a really, I feel like, smooth surface. So I was honestly surprised that they didn't go down smoother on this paper. I expected them to go down a little smoother. But I tried to just be chill with it. Like I said, normally I'm big on burnishing, but because of that base color, I don't have to worry about white space showing. It's just the base color underneath is showing. And that is one of the big reasons why I use base colors. So I try to just roll with it and be cool with it today. And I mean, honestly, I should have done if it hadn't been for the demo part, I mean, I really should have done this video like weeks ago, because I have so many different Arteza pencils colored. I think Arteza is probably the most I've used on paper than any other pencil I have, because they give me the softness of Prismacolor, but I don't think they smudge as much as Prismacolor. And that right there was the selling point for me, because I'm so heavy-handed. Smudging's a real problem for me. Now, using the brush and the glove, I have been able to go back to the Prismacolors more in recent years, but I hadn't used these in a long time. I think since the one picture I'll show y'all, I think the one I did that was in the cat coloring therapy book. And I had just forgotten about them. Like these pencils are so vibrant. Look at the color I'm getting off of them. They're so vibrant. They pop. I just get really pretty vibrant color off of these. And that's my jam. That's what I'm drawn to. And so these pencils I never feel like they're dull looking and when it comes to color. So and like I said, they sharpened really well. I had just a few snap on me, but it was either due to probably a broken lead already in the pencil where I have dropped them, or I pressed too hard and snapped one or two of them. I noticed I needed to stop today when my pressure was building on my pencils and I started snapping leads. That was my moment of like, okay, I've done enough color pencil coloring today, because this softer approach was starting to go away. So, but no, I just don't color with pencils very much. I'm telling y'all, I've colored more with pencils in the past 6 months than I probably have in years. Especially doing over base colors like this. And it's been nice. Like today was just a good day to do it. I again just feel really bad that this is such a shaky video. I used my new camera thing with these big metal base, and I thought, and normally that makes it a lot sturdier, but I guess with the wind blowing like it was today, it was just going to be wobbly no matter what. And I was just going to be stubborn about it. But I didn't get as far in this picture as I wanted, and you'll see that here in a little bit. Why am I pausing? Oh, I think Winry came up on the table. I was trying to get her to come over to me and she wouldn't do it. You can see I've already colored the background in this clip. I had started off with the background, like recording it, and because of the wind, the camera kept getting pushed. Like eventually the stand would move and I wouldn't realize it. And it's something else that sucks about coloring outside is I can't see like the top of the camera from where I'm sitting to make sure that it's actually on the part of the picture I need it to be on. And so this is what we wind up with is gaps and the page getting slid like that, or the base getting slid, and me not realizing until I check later on. And then I'm like, oh right, yeah, oh no, how long have I been coloring out of frame? So this one got a little chopped up, but I felt like the best demo example I could give y'all in what I colored today was this feather. So I figured we'd do this in real time because I really should color rainbow colors more often. I love them. And I just feel like this is one of the best ways to showcase these pencils. And yes, I'm a little messy with my pencils. I didn't bring my eraser out there, and I was just like, meh, you know what? It's fine. It's fine, it's fine. I really was trying to be chill about it today. The wind did not want me to be chill. The wind wanted me to be mad and wanted me to throw a tantrum because I had to keep everything way down. And you're like, if it's so much trouble, why are you coloring outside? Because we get, where I live, which is Middle Tennessee, we get, for me, so few days in the year where the weather is like in the high 60s to low 80s, and usually there's a good breeze blowing through, and it's not raining, it's not swamp humid weather. Also days where not everybody's mowing like they were yesterday. I'm not faulting other people for actually getting out and enjoying the weather, but just it's so few days. Like I'm talking literal weeks in a year, like a handful of weeks in the year total, probably, of just absolutely really good coloring days outside before it gets too hot or it gets too cold or it's raining or you have strong winds like you do today. And so I try every chance I get because we have a screened in porch and I can go hang out with the cats and just I have a roof over it, so I'm not in the sun, but I am outside, and I know it does my mood well because for the most part I stay inside. I work remotely, so I don't go out much, and being outside and doing all that I know does me a world of good, and I don't do it enough, so I try just to embrace it any chance I get. And so today I just was in the mood for it, and I was not gonna let the wind get me down today. So isn't that pretty? I love that feather. I think the feathers are my favorite part of this picture. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, I really do like Artezas, and so I knew when we got to these, I probably wouldn't have anything too groundbreaking to say. I mean, there's some complaints about it, and I mean, I guess I could talk about it here too. So like that swatch I showed you at the beginning, let me look at it while I'm talking to you. So the second half of this is going to be sped up a little bit. If we get to it, you will see me work on the background some, or maybe I took that part out. Yeah, you're going to see me work on the bushes, on his hat, and I'm going to start work on his face and his front paws. And I think that's about as far as we get. And all that took an hour, and I was like, yeah, I'm not getting this done today, so this is going to take a while. So so while we are speeding through this, I will talk about a little bit more about the sets. So the swatch that I showed, like, I feel like they could have done a lot more work on the palette other than swapping those colors out. Because so the 3 grays that they added, before that point, excuse me, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They have 14 grays. Now they got 17. 17 grays. Other than Prismacolor, I don't know of any set that has like that many grays. And the thing that kills me is the grays of those 14. There's some that there's just not a massive difference between them in shades. Like Dolphin Gray and Steel Gray are really close, and Cloud Gray, Concrete Gray, Pewter Gray, and Shadow Gray are really close. Like, when I'm looking at the swatch with them right beside each other, I'm just not seeing that much nuance. And so it's like, why didn't you just revise the grays you had, create more of a substantial shade difference between them, and instead of taking away 3 colors that you already had? So there's a critique right there. My second critique is that is a common problem with this set. There are a lot of combos. Like, I love that Arteza color pencil combo, because combination sheet, I am okay getting those from other people that love doing that kind of stuff, because I don't have the time or the patience. That's not something I enjoy doing, is trying to come up with my own combinations. I can, and I do in this picture, but like, if the work can be done for me to speed it up, I'm happier. But it's harder to build different combos in this set because there's a lot of colors that are just really close to each other. If you look there is also a printing error. Number 77, number 64 are both listed as turmeric yellow. One is turmeric yellow and one is yellow ochre. And I think yellow ochre is number 64. So keep that in mind as well. But like, 4 of those yellows, like the golden yellows, they look almost exactly the same on this paper. I could see a little difference when I would use them in combos on the paper, but like, boy, this really is shaking now, isn't it? That's funny. It's gonna make people nauseous. I'm so sorry. If you just want to listen and not watch this part, I understand. I don't know, man. I almost want to just see if it gets any better. Hang on. It's the wind. The wind's what's doing it. I think what I'll have to do moving forward is get something really heavy and put it on the metal base to stabilize it a little better. So I will do better in the future. I promise that will be a learning experience for me. I don't know what I'm doing right here. Should move down to his hat here in a minute. But like the reds, now again, I have a hard time telling reds and like dark oranges apart. I don't know if that's a type of color blindness, but that's always been an issue for me. But like, from vermilion, like there's a set of 4 there: vermilion, rose red, Venetian red. Venetian red looks a little different, but carmine red and rose red to me look almost like exactly the same shade. So there's a lot in here where the shades look really close together. and I feel like they could have done a better job with different colored shades. And greens are bad about that too. The basil green and emerald green don't look all that different to me. Um, Turquoise and shamrock green look very similar. Yeah. So that's like, I mean, there are definitely some criticisms about this set. I feel like there's a lot of colors that this could have been better curated to create more unique colors. Especially don't add any more grays. Because you lose the coral and the salmon pink, I feel like are genuinely different colors to the palette that I really don't think they should have dropped. The forest green, again, very close to the basil green, give or take. I'm okay with losing that one, but I'm kind of glad. I believe I have a 48 or a 72 set of the Artezas. Then I bought the 120 set, and I have squirreled away that 72 set for a while, and hopefully the coral and the salmon pink are in that 72 set, because that should give me enough for a while before I would have to buy another set. Now, unfortunately, these are not open stock, so you have to buy them in their sets. However, like if you needed specific colors, you might be able to get away with just buying one of the smaller sets. Let me go take a look at their current price point, because that's always fun. I know some people don't like to do that, but I'm going to tell y'all, I have no problem looking at the price of something and telling y'all like how I really feel about it. That's the watercolor pencils. There we go. See, that says Pro Series. I don't know. It's so confusing. I don't know why they don't just do one set of pencils and just call it the Arteza colored pencils. Like, why do they have to use like professional and expert and all of that? That's so weird. What the heck? Do they not even have the 120 set right now of colored pencils? Wow. Yeah, you know, somebody mentioned that. But then when I went to... How weird. When I went to their site, I could have sworn I saw the 120 set. Okay, so as of right now, the 120 set's not on Amazon. The 72 set is for $55. Nah. That's overpriced. Yeah, I know prices have changed a little bit too on everything, but I still feel like... Oh yeah, here we are with his hat. Now, again, the graininess, because of the softness of these pencils, they're going to be they're not going to be as smooth on the paper, but I was actually okay with that here. I didn't want to stress with that more. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's see here. I was wondering. I was like, what is that screen? Okay, on the Arteza site, they do have the 120 set, and they say expert color pencils, and they are $60, which doesn't include shipping. I wouldn't say $60 is the worst price. However, Arteza, at least in my experience, tends to go on sale with their pencil sets a lot. Watercolor pencils, the real brush pens, any Arteza products generally tend to have some interesting sales during the year, especially during Amazon like Prime days, and on their site they have really good sales too. I don't know if I'd pay $60 for a 120 set of pencils, but given how much I like these, I would. But given how many, and if there weren't as many competitive pencils now, I would more likely, but there are a lot more competitive sets of 120 these days. So if I were you, I if you like, vibrant color and you like softer pencils, and again, if the real quality of these haven't changed drastically, I would say, I would wait on a sale. I would probably try to see if I could snag them for 45. Anywhere from 40 to 50, I think, would be okay for these. But I do think they are a bit overpriced given the other type pencils that are out there these days. So definitely catch them on sale. Like I said, Arteza does a lot of sales on their site. I would sign up to subscribe for sales from their site. They do a lot of those. Actually, that's what I was looking for, was where I bought these, and I assumed I bought them on Amazon, but I actually had bought them straight from Arteza's site, because they were running a better sale. And that's another suggestion. If they ever get the 120 set back in stock at Amazon, check both there and Arteza, like the Arteza site, if you buy any Arteza products, because sometimes it could be $10-$20 cheaper on one compared to the other if they're running a particular sale. So very interesting that Amazon doesn't have those. But the only problem I've ever had with Arteza shipping stuff, and I've bought a lot of items from them, was the paint pens I bought from them last year. There was like some weird mix up, and I ended up getting, like, it took forever to get them. And then when I got them, they sent an extra set of paint pens. So, I mean, at least they didn't short me a set, but it was still it was a little frustrating. But that was, I don't even know if that was last year. It might have been the year before. Post COVID, it was hard to, I don't know if, probably shouldn't be talking about that much, but post that period of time, there were a lot of supply issues in warehouses, so I could just chalk it up to that. But other than that, it's always been arrived, shipped well. Like, I've never had any problem with the product, like, not being like shattered pencils, shattered cores. This set of pencils and the watercolor pencils and other things I bought, I've never had any problems with like markers leaking or anything looking really banged up when it shows up or anything. So I've had good experiences on the Arteza site, but again, these are just my experiences and my thoughts on them. But yeah, so oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so late feeding the cats tonight. They're gonna be so mad. But I really do want to show you guys this part. He's really going to be the highlight of this page, just from the little bit I did on him, and then just seeing the rest of the page. I don't know what I'm going to do with the metallic pearlescent colors. I might try to see if I can get a pencil to shade over them. I don't know if I'm sure other people shade over metallic, like pearlescent colors all the time. I've just never tried that myself. And see if I can get them looking, clean them up a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. This page was a bit of an experiment with, I hadn't used a lot of the pearlescent colors and stuff, so but we may not show as much of the other page because I didn't realize we were already, oh yeah, this ran a lot later than I meant for it to. Whoops. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut some of the other image, but that's fine. I was a lot happier with this paper than I was with the Amazon paper with Arteza pencils. I have used Arteza pencils on Amazon paper before, which I will show you, and but because they're so soft, they tend to really look grainy on toothy paper, and it's irritating to me, like more so than it is on this page. Like, I could handle it on this page pretty okay. And I am not a patient colorist. Like I said, I tend to burnish, use a lot of heavy pressure, and color quickly rather than taking my time to build up layers. And so, excuse me, that's part of my problem as well. But everybody colors a little differently, and I think it's interesting to see. I know other colors here on YouTube that actually color the same way. There for a while, I thought I was the only pencil person who used really heavy pressure and just worked quickly, and I almost act like the pencils are painful for me. And they're not really, except today I noticed, because I spent 2 hours coloring with them, even they just started hurting though. A lot of times when I tell y'all a pencil's soft, I go by how long it takes before my hands and wrists and arms starts to hurt. And because I went with a lighter touch today, and because they're softer pencils, after 2 hours, I was just starting to get a little bit of an ache, but I could have kept going for probably another hour or two. Compared to the 2 previous pencil sets, the Amazon Basics didn't take long at all to make me hurt. But the Arctics, it took a couple hours, but after a couple hours, I was definitely feeling it. So there's a huge difference right there. And I feel like very telling of the Arteza pencils. But that's kind of how it goes. You get a softer pencil, you get a softer result on the paper, unless you like really use heavy pressure and burnish it. And I just, like I said, sometimes my problem's going to be when I come back to this page. And this is why I like to try to finish pieces. Like, I should have finished this entire cat today, because I'm worried that the me that comes to color the rest of him will be more anxious and more stressed, and thus will want to use heavier pressure than I was using on the front part of him. I've done that before on a picture, where half the page is actually got a little bit of gradient and shading to it, and then and then the other half of the page is all rushed. So that's what I've got so far. I really love the colors on this page. They just pop so well, and it's, like I said, one of my favorite things about the Arteza pencils. And so far I haven't found a base that has not reacted well to having pencils over the top of it. So we've used watercolors, we've used watercolor pencils, we've used markers, and I've used other things that, you know, I'll use in this series as well. But like, so far I get really good experiences with pencils over base colors. So love how he's turning out. Hopefully by the end of the month I will have this page finished. Fingers crossed. I can work on a little bit at a time. Really, the grass is going to be the biggest thing, and that's where I'm going to need to be a little more patient. But just something fun, and like I said, now I've got a little more progress made on the whip. I love his feathers. They're so fun. Alright, so now we are going to turn to a completely different type of paper and art. This is Fairies Gone Wild by Deborah Muller. And I know y'all just saw me do a Deborah Muller page, but I just got this book and I really wanted to color in it. And so I went ahead and based this page with some markers. And I figured we could do the Arteza pencils on this too. So I'm not using those Color with Claire Prisma combinations for this one. I'm just building my own 3 color sets. So just to show you guys the swatch again, you can kind of see a little bit of what I'm talking about there. With, I felt like there's a lot of colors that are very similar, though because it is not an open stock set, that can come in handy if you run out of one pencil. Then if you have another color that's very close to it, it gives you a couple more pencils to go through before you have to buy any more. So there's a page colored with the marker in its entirety. We are only going to do like the top part of this, and I'm probably going to cut some of this out. Let me go do that right now. I'll be right back. Well, you'll hardly notice I'm gone. Well, I'm just going to keep going, and then if I reach a point where I'll stop, then I'll make changes as needed. This has been a very piecemeal video. Yes, Winry, I hear you. My little hunter. And of course, here at the beginning, we're just sitting here staring at a page because I'm sure I was doing something and forgot to hit the pause button. So, I also thought this was an interesting combo of pages because, again, you have the smoothness of the ColorIt paper, which is by design because it's supposed to be a marker-friendly paper, to the really textured Amazon paper that is not super high quality. It was interesting to me that both pages have that graininess to them. I expected the ColorIt page to look a little smoother. But again, I tend to be very heavy-handed with my pencils, and today was one of those days I was trying not to be. And one of the pictures you'll actually see that I did with Amazon paper and Arteza pencils over the top is it'll look a little bit smoother, but that's just because I was really heavy-handed with it. And so the softness of these pencils, I tend to not use softer pencils on Amazon paper because of the texture and because it really does look so kind of grainy and not unblended. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for here. Like just textured, that I don't like it as much as I do other pencils. Like the Artix pencils are a harder lead pencil. I feel like they look a little better. They perform a little bit better on the Amazon paper. And one of the things you'll see here is her skin. So skin, like especially when you're going over a base color with pencil, is difficult anyway, because in that case you really do want to create a smooth texture. Otherwise your fairy may look like they have a 5 o'clock shadow, and like there's nothing wrong with that, but maybe that just wasn't the look you were going for, right? And so I do use the pencils over her skin, and you'll see I'm not super happy with the results, but I'm just gonna kind of be okay with it because today was just kind of one of those days where it was like, I'm just gonna color, and this is showing the good, the bad, and the ugly. But skin, I'm kind of like everybody else. It is fascinating to me, like, you do a picture and you see, like, if you use pencil shading like this, even just pencils, and you use light pressure and you blend and stuff, everywhere else you may get a shady gradient kind of color, kind of look, but then the skin, it will do the same thing, but for some reason on skin it looks, and like I said, maybe it's because it almost looks like they've got facial hair or body hair. Maybe it's almost because it looks like a hair texture, and like that's not what most people are going for. And so maybe that's it. Maybe that's why it looks so strange. But it is what it is. So I went with very unconventional colors on this picture. I tend to not like regular skin tones, like human skin tones for, God, it just sounds so creepy, doesn't it? Like human skin tones, like lotion in the basket type stuff there. I tend to like to use fantasy type colors, and so again, that's why I'm drawn to like fairy books and fantasy creature books and people, because I can use different skin tones on anybody, but particularly if they're a witch or a fairy, I can use a green, I can use blues, I can use anything else. Aliens. So, I mean, I can use it on any character or any person, I guess, but it's harder. It feels more like I'm breaking rules if it's not already a determined fantasy creature. Excuse me. I think I have to trim this really big at one point because, again, the camera slid off the page a little bit. All right. So, a little bit of a life update. I've spent an awful lot of time talking about these pencils this time and the pictures. Look at me. It's been hard for me to do a color and chat because so much has been going on, particularly since BMO was quite almost literally dropped in my lap. Shoot, it'll have been a month here in probably about a week. I think I'll have to go look. It's hard to believe. But since then, I've basically been just kind of giving little updates at the end of videos. And so those of you who've wanted to stick around have had little bits and pieces into what's going on. But this is the first time I've really had a good chunk to just kind of talk about what all's been going on, which it's been a lot, but sadly not a ton I can talk about on here because most of it's work related. Yeah, you can see the wind's trying to blow everything here in a minute. I don't know if I got it on camera at one point, like all those pages that were set above me blew like right in my face and right on to the page. And I'll say this, I was keeping it brushed and everything so well, like nothing smudged, nothing. You can see there, particularly at the top above her head where it is, like I said, these do, the word I'm looking for, shed a lot of like little pencil particles because they're soft, which surprisingly, considering how much I've colored with these, I don't think I'm anywhere close to have even, the set still is in relatively good condition. I don't really have any pencils. Like I said, there's some sets like, what was one I was using the other day? I can't, oh, those were my pastel pencils. Well, that's not a shocker to anybody because those are fragile anyway. But there's some pencil sets where like you will get some shattered cores and like you'll eat up 2/3 of the pencil just trying to get enough of a point to color with. And these pencils, like I said, that jar link really has made a huge difference. I'll have one every now and then that I lose like the lead on it, like you saw previously, but it sharpened it back up so quick, and then it was super strong and solid after that. Yeah, when I was talking about that, so what I was alluding to, and have you noticed it lately? I'm sure everyone has, but like, I was telling my husband, I was like, it seems like everything, like all products, food products, art products, hobby products, unless it's coming from like a small business or something, like anything that's, I guess, being sold by a corporation or whatever, like everything seems to be garbage quality recently. Like the paper towels we used to get, like we bought the same set. We actually used the Members Mark Sam's Club brand because they were the closest to like the really expensive Bounty paper towels, and like the last batch, because we buy the bulk size and we get them shipped from Sam's Club, and the last ones we bought, I started to open the paper towels and I noticed that like, I wouldn't say they're half as thin as they used to be, but maybe like at least 25 to 30% less thick. Like it's substantial. It's noticeable when I go to pull them off the roll or I use them to clean up spills. Cats and cat yak and things like that. We tend to have a lot of messes with 5 cats now. And I noticed those have gotten thinner. The toilet paper seems to have held up. At least it's not, that actually seems thinner too now that I think about it. Not maybe as noticeable, but now I'm thinking about when I get to the end of a roll, it feels like it's thinner than it should be. But like I'm seeing that across the board. I'm seeing that with like food products, produce. Um Produce is of course ridiculously expensive unless you can find it on sale. But all the stuff that's on sale and even the stuff that's not, like all looks older or looks in worse shape than it's ever been. And it's like I almost have to buy the super expensive produce just to get the produce that looks reasonably good. Just more bruised apples, more grapes that don't look fresh, that look, soggy and overripe, and like strawberries that don't look good. Like, it's weird. And even vegetables. I mean, I've gotten carrots, bad carrots, and we're not getting in a discussion about like I could buy carrots and cut them, or we're not having that discussion today. Um, but baby carrots in a bag, like I have opened more than one lately that are still well within their best by date. And they are slimy and gross and they smell terrible. And I have to like toss the whole bag. I've had hummus go bad on me before the best by date. We've had milk go bad on us more than once before the best by date. So like what the heck is going on? Like and I was watching a video the other day about somebody talking about a brand new vehicle they got that's just like total trash. It was like a Jeep, and I think Jeep has a lot of problems anyway. It's been a thing for years, but like I've heard a lot of people talk about brand new cars having issues that shouldn't be having issues being brand new vehicles. They should be more reliable, and it feels like everything is just extra garbage lately, and it's overpriced. You would think. So I know I'm not naive enough to not see that in the past, a lot of companies have cut on quality or cut on like portion size. Of course, there's shrinkflation happening. A lot of stuff's getting smaller for the same price or even higher prices. Like, I'm not naive to know that that hasn't happened in my life like the past 20 years. But the thing is, it either is less, you get less for the same price, or you get a lower quality for the same price. You don't get lower quality and the price goes up. Like, it's like they're doubling down here. And it's just wild to me. And it's actually made me think a lot about even art supplies. I haven't had to buy any recently. But now I wonder, like, a lot of the pencil sets that I love and a lot of the different things that I love, like, are they also going this route? Like cost cutting, and I know prices are going up, but like, wood pencils that I know pencils that I bought 5 years ago aren't going to perform as well, or probably perform better than the pencils that are out now, but like, is it a substantial difference? Like, I don't know. And it makes me a little nervous because then I'm like, if I have to buy a new Arteza pencil set at some point, like, am I going to get them and they're just going to be awful, and am I going to hate them? And so anyway, yeah, that's my little mini rant of the day. What I was saying though is, on this background though, I really like how these pencils are doing. Actually, overall, I didn't hate how these pencils performed, except on her skin, which again, y'all will see in a little bit. But I think, again, it's just, I'm expecting a smooth skin texture, and I think that's the problem. But really, overall, it's not the worst experience, but these aren't my favorite pencils to use because on Amazon paper, I would say, in my opinion, I think out of course, I've done 3 sets so far. Definitely Amazon Basics are just in the garbage. But I would prefer the Arctics over the Artezas on Amazon paper just because they're slightly harder pencil. And I prefer harder pencils on Amazon paper. But on smooth paper, Arteza. Absolutely. I feel like they have really shined on a lot of, I'll show you guys that cat coloring therapy page I did with them, which is really smooth, like a Korean type book, or Japanese book. And they did beautifully. Like these perform, I think, really well on higher quality paper. So, um, but anyway, boy, I really haven't talked a lot about me this time. It's normally the other way around. So, BMO, Mimo's Mimo, I call her Mimo too, is doing good. She's pretty much out in the house, free to roam from about 10, 11 in the morning to 11 midnight at night. And I'm starting to feed her with the other cats. She gets very grumpy and very hangry, very much a girl's girl, if you will, when it comes to moodiness around food. Because I know how that feels. Because when my blood sugar gets low, I'm ready to cut a bitch. So I can't blame her for that, really. But she gets a lot happier once she eats. And I think she's getting ready to have a growth spurt because she ate so much today. I had opened like, she's really only eating like one flavor of Fancy Feast. I think I opened 3 total cans for her today. And she ate. Now, the others helped a little, but I think she ate like 2 cans entirely by herself. It was pretty ridiculous. And so I think she's getting ready to have a growth spurt because I don't know if I've ever seen her eat this much. But once she discovered the outside, she loves going out on the porch. That's like her favorite place to be, except for on top of the freezer in the utility room, which is one of Leroy's favorite spots too, so that's going to be a bit contentious, I think. Leroy is getting brave enough to, when he gets his druthers up and his kerfluffles going and his zoomies, he turns into a bit of a dick. Like, he's a little bit of a bully. And he's actually kind of squaring up with her now, a little bit. Now, I always watch it closely. He will. There was one night she still just won't quit growling when she gets near the other cat. She'll just growl and growl and growl and act all dramatic. And they're just staring at her. They're not doing anything. And it's funny because she instigates a lot of it, because if she would just shut up, they wouldn't care. They don't care. It's only when she gets mouthy and they're like, no, no, we can't be having this. I'm tired of you and I'm tired of the noise. Shut up. And that's kind of what happened with Leroy. I think it was last night. He was in a mood, and then she started growling at him, and he's just staring at her, and it would have been fine, but she just kept on. And he finally was like, "Okay, well, I'm tired of this. I'm not doing anything." And he whopped her on the head. But see, I watch it, and their claws aren't out. He's not growling or hissing. Tails are not puffed up. They're just working it out. You have to be careful with cats in that there is, and I know I'm coloring a little bit off camera here. Sorry, that'll change in a minute. This is where the camera started kind of sliding away from me, and so I didn't realize. But they do have a hierarchy, and like you have to let them kind of work out who's top cat. Yeah. So I already did the face, and you can see what I meant. Like, it's like she's got a beard going, and hey, maybe she does. Who's to say maybe fairies are. It's not like any of us has actually seen one. Maybe fairies are just naturally hairy looking, and we just had no idea, right? But this right here is exactly why I hate doing pencils on skin, even when it's just straight pencils, without some sort of smoothing agent. So, but anyway, yeah, this is where the camera was sliding, so you lost where I colored the apples and the leaves and everything, and even her hair, which looked a lot more obvious to me off camera, but maybe not here. That's fine. But Winry still, once every couple days, will get again her ants in her pants, and she will decide she's going to chase BMO. I don't think anything's happening. I think it's a couple little swats at each. I don't even think they're connecting. They're just kind of swatting at each other, and there's a bunch of there's a lot of loud alarm sounds, but like every time I show up, nothing's happening. They're not locked. They're not doing anything, and so I will use the water bottle if I feel like I need to. It is not, what I'm doing is not technically recommended for when you go look at like cat integration. However, in my years of experience, what I'm doing tends to work with minor issues, and so far what we're doing is working. So every cat is different, and anytime you look at how to integrate cats, there's a lot of good resources out there. There's also kind of, each situation's unique. So the water bottle is only very rarely used, and most of the time I just shake it just to distract them. Sometimes it's just distraction is all it's serving, and I don't actually soak any of them with it really. I just mostly shake it and distract them. So, but anyway, I'm not quite ready to let her have the run of the house at night, because Winry's usually kind of active at night, and she likes being outside at night, and we close up the porch at night, and so she hasn't had to really experience that yet. So I don't really know where she would go or what she would do if she didn't have full access to the outside, if she wouldn't just go on back upstairs. So probably going to test that. I probably sometime this week or next weekend. Again, here I feel like she is starting to get to the point she doesn't want to be in there at night. Before, I was putting her in there and she would quieten down, like, okay, yeah, I need some time to myself to decompress. And now she's like still screaming at the door. So I think we're getting close, but I just don't feel like we're quite there. Like, if we could go more than a couple days without Winry pulling her, I'm gonna stalk her, because I feel like I want to stalk something. And Winry is very hard to play with. Like, probably if I could figure out a way to play with her and get her energy out, she wouldn't do that. That's typically what you're supposed to do. But she is a very difficult cat to play with. She prefers to hunt like her mice on her own, play with them. She'll chase a laser every now and then, laser toy. She's just not big on interactive toys with me. She doesn't like, like Leroy likes for me to chase him around the house. Like, that's how we play, and we'll swat at each other a little bit till he gets too overwhelmed, and that's how he likes to play, because he's not big on toys either. But we figured out a way for him to push out his energy, and I'll toss like a catnip banana to him and he'll kick it and stuff. Like, I figured out ways to get energy out of him. She's very difficult. She's always been very difficult to play with. So that's the problem, is I don't really have a way to get her to expend that energy. But if we can go more than a couple days without her having one of those moments, we might try to leave her out at night. So that's going on. I'm having a slew of doctor's appointments back to back because I had to reschedule some. I went back to the podiatrist last week. I'm still having some pain from the plantar fasciitis in my left foot, but the stretches he showed me and wearing shoes around the house is helping. I didn't think I'm probably about 30 to 40% of the way there. He wanted to see me at 50 or 60. So we're going to give it another month. If it's still not close to being gone, then we're going to do a steroid shot. He just doesn't really want to do it unless we've given it plenty of time to heal otherwise. And that's fair. It's not bad enough that it is really causing me problems. Well, this went weirdly blurry. the sun was drastically changing because as the evening goes on, the sun starts coming across the porch, and you'll actually start seeing it come into this picture here. So I think that messes up the picture a little bit as well. Sorry, I just hit the mic. But so that's still bugging me. I have to go to the OBGYN next week. I was supposed to see my rheumatologist this week, my old new rheumatologist. We are hopefully done with the guy from Nashville, but I'm going to have to reschedule that. And I'm also supposed to see the dermatologist next week, but I don't want 2 appointments in a week, so I just can't do that with work, so I'm going to have to reschedule that one. Fun. That's what a good old chronic illness and various health issues. You got 20, and I have a regular doctor's appointment in May. I have to go in every 3 months because some of the meds I take, thanks to Tennessee, are considered scheduled drugs for some reason. The Ambien, I don't know, and the pregabalin. So anyway, you can start to see the sun come across here. I think this is where I pretty much give this piece up. I'll talk a little more about my life and we'll just show the static picture here. It's a little shiny. I took it inside at night because it looked a little dark otherwise. But no, I mean, they do well enough on this picture. I don't hate them. I'm not thrilled by the skin. And I just feel like they're grainier looking than like the Arctics would be. They're still, I think, perfectly good pencils to use on Amazon paper, but like I would probably use other pencils in place of these, like the Arctics on Amazon, and then I would use the Artezas on like my more premium papers. So check out, I'll keep talking, but just for those of you that want to know what's next. So Wednesday, we'll do a few example demos in that video like I usually do. I'll show these and all the other pictures I have with the Artezas and give you guys my perspective on them. But like, if you watch these, you usually get an idea of where I'm going with this. And I'd say the Artezas are definitely one of my favorite pencils. So, again, probably rather controversial because I know a lot of people don't like them, but I do. I've always really liked them. And one big key, and I will bring this up Wednesday too, since I just brought it up, is if you use water in your picture, make sure you use all the water you're going to use, then use the pencils, unless you want the pencils to move. Not all the sets. I think my set isn't water soluble, but like the newer sets, again, the change in production, the newer sets are very water soluble from what I've seen. And it was a big like history of color tube. It was a big thing 2-3 years ago. People found out how water soluble Arteza was, and it really led to, hey, are other pencils water soluble too? Now, if you want them to break down, then use them. Or, I mean, if you like water soluble pencils, I mean, go for it. But that is something I do need to note, because that can cause issues if people are still using water in their pick, like trying to use layers and layers. A lot of pencils won't move, but I don't ever like to use water over pencil that's not watercolor pencil anyway, because I just assume it's all going to move myself. So, but that's just a nuance that I have picked up. And I think the water solubleness turned a lot of people off the pencils, even though for a lot of people they might not have used water anyway. I don't know. Maybe it's because it just makes them seem like a lower quality pencil because they're water soluble. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. I'm not a professional artist. Now, if I was a professional artist using colored pencils, I probably wouldn't be using Arteza anyway because they don't have light fastness ratings. But like for colored pencil picture, I don't use water anyway over regular colored pencils because I assume they're going to move anyway. even with things like glossy accents and stuff like that, like anything that's got liquid in it, I try to be very careful because I just gel pens sometimes they'll move. So I try to be very careful unless I know for sure that pencil's not going anywhere anyway. So I guess it's just never, that was never a huge issue for me, but it might be for some people that use multiple layers. And there, maybe you could use a mixed media spray, like a fixative or something over it, and then do stuff. I don't know. I've never tried any of that. So, but yeah, I'll be back with the full review of these on Wednesday, and then Friday we'll go back to, we'll either do a haul or go back to my my coloring book collection. There we go. It is already 10 o'clock. These cats are going to murder me. So I need to wrap this up and get this rendering. And I will probably just wait and load it in the morning. So you might see this Monday morning. I don't know. Well, anyway. So yeah, a bunch of doctor's appointments. I'm just trying to juggle. Due to a lot of going up and down the stairs with BMO, weather changes, getting up and down off the floor, like doing a lot of things that my out of shape body doesn't normally do. I've been dealing with a lot of knee pain, a lot of like that pain in my foot flared back up. Just a lot of general achiness and stuff. I think a lot of it's due to the weather change. I can get ahead of a lot of the pain myself through medication and things like that, but when it comes to huge weather changes, particularly winter to spring and then fall to winter, like here it's more like summer to winter, the way it kind of goes, where we get just a couple weeks in the fall. I get big in swings like that. I get a lot of pain, and so, but this is the most pain I've had in a while. And I've been in a mental survival mode for a long time, because there's just been a lot going on, and work is just very heavy level of effort at work, and it's been that way for a while. And most of the time I can handle it because, like, at least physically I feel fine. I'm just mentally exhausted all the time, but like the last few weeks it's been both mental and physical exhaustion. And I actually had to take 3 days off work last week because I just needed a break. I've been kind of just pushing through, surviving, not thriving, but surviving for about 4 months, which is a pretty good run for me. But usually after 3 or 4 months of doing that, I kind of have a dip where I really struggle for, it could be a month, it could be a couple weeks. And my struggle moment was last week. So as you can hear, I do feel better today. It will be interesting to see how long that lasts, if that adjusts going back to work tomorrow. But it's just been tough, and I know other people have it tougher. A lot of people who have commented, and like, I see you, and I know I don't always leave long comments on YouTube. I know I'm probably not as supportive as I should be, and like, I'm sorry, but like, it's not just, I know what I'm going through is nothing compared to what some of you go through, and I try to keep that in mind. I really do. Whoop, now you can hear my video. But like, Brittany, I see you. I know one person in particular is having a really horrible time of it lately, and just, I do see y'all, and I will try my best to answer. If I leave a heart, then just know I see your comment, and I will try to come back later to respond if I can. But like, there's projects I'm trying to work on with other colorists here on YouTube, and they're having to be super patient with me because I just don't have it in me. I'm just exhausted all the time, and it's really, as if you've been around for a while, you know this is not something new. And I just, in talking with my therapist, this has moved from survival mode to like, I can't keep going through this every 3 or 4 months, and I don't know, I need to figure out what I want to do and what I need to do to get out of this rut. So maybe this is a bad time to do it, because man, May is usually a heavily busy month, not only with work but around here, because we have my birthday, my husband's birthday, and our wedding anniversary within a week. Because my husband's birthday is a week before mine, and then our wedding anniversary is right smack in the middle. Then my dad's birthday is that month. My brother's birthday is actually this month. And and I think one of Brent's parents might have a birthday in May. So like May is usually, and plus it's really nice weather. We're usually trying to do things around the yard, though my husband got an early start on it this year. So maybe it won't be as crazy. I do have a week where I will be remoting in on a work trip where we're getting together for workshops and team building and conferences and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still going to be crazy, and I've just got to figure out a way to navigate the next 3 or 4 months without burning out, because I feel close to burnout again now, like I did last fall, and I just can't do that again. So if I have seemed kind of quiet, other than talking about books that are talking about coloring, as you can see here, I talked a lot about these pencils and about coloring today, but not a lot about my life, just because there's not a whole lot of new things changing. It's just all the same shit, different day, right? Like, so I've said all this over and over again for so long, and it just feels like who I am as a person, and I hate that. Like, I hate that so much. It felt really good to get out there and color these 2 pages today. I was exhausted, and I am exhausted, and I can't believe I'm doing this so late and the cats have not rioted over dinner. But we're going to go do that right now, and I'm going to render this video. But I hope you liked the 2 different types of paper, the 2 different perspectives. I used 2 different bases on them. I'm pleased with how both pictures are coming out, and overall I'm not surprised, because every time I pull, I'm very rarely disappointed in my Arteza pencils. Like I said, the only thing is they're just soft, and for certain types of paper I don't like softer pencils, but for certain types of paper I don't like harder pencils. So that's really my biggest grump about them. I wish I'd been able to finish a page today, but I'm going to try to work on these, and I really, really hope that the next few weeks I can feel better about how this month has gone than March went, because January and March were rough. February was just kind of hanging in there. But hopefully this, and every time I say it, it doesn't happen, so maybe I should stop saying it, but we're just going to hope I have some pages to show you at the end of this month. So anyway, I will put timestamps. Should have said this at the beginning, but I will put timestamps, and hopefully be back Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see how things go. Thanks, and bye for now.